just walking down the street singing. Snapping her fingers and shuffling her feet singing.
Welcome back to The Five. We're going to still keep on 2012, and we're going to turn our focus now to Herman Caine, who gained a lot of a momentum in the Florida straw poll and after the debate last week. He's kept a steady base of support. And Andrea, in a Zogby poll that was just released, he is considered the top choice. 28% of poll respondents said they would go for him. And then Perry and Romney come in at 18 and 17%. Ron Paul at 11%. Interestingly, Michelle Bachmann, Newt, and a few others, like Huntsman, not even mentioned. Do you think that Herman Caine, actually at this moment, is the front runner?
For this very snapshot, yes. I think this means bad news for Mitt Romney, because you think about this, he's campaigned a lot in Florida in 2008 and now, and voters didn't vote for him in that Florida straw poll. They had the opportunity after they saw Perry peter out after the debate, and they didn't. The support went to Herman Caine. That's a good sign, but he needed to win that straw poll to stay alive, because he's using it now, as you see, for earned media. He can raise money off it, and I think he's also hoping the strategy is that his book comes out in October, and the money he makes from that will be the money that he can use to stay alive in this campaign.
He was on Greta last night, and we have some sound from that we should take a listen to, because he talked about how much of the black vote he would be able to get.
I believe, quite frankly, that my campaign, I will garner a minimum of 1/3 of the black vote in this country, and possibly more, especially after what the president did recently when he was addressing the black caucus.
Okay, I was curious, Leslie, what do you make of that? Because you were shaking your head that it's probably not possible, but is 1/3 really too much to ask?
Well, actually, once again, anytime there's just split, fragmentation, you know, among voters, among the GOP, you know, we liberal Dems love it. I need to call 911 about his 999 plan, okay? Herman Caine has a message, and I think a lot of people, even on the right, are a little bit confused how that would play out. So I don't think he's really credible, quite frankly, with 1/3. And I know a straw poll doesn't always translate into votes. And I think that what was happening in Florida is they were sending a message to both Romney and to Perry. And think about it, though, guys, debates. You know, when Kerry and Bush debated 3 times in a row, Kerry did kick former President Bush's butt, but America voted for former President Bush.
What's wrong with 999?
Right, that's exactly how I remember it. Hey,
that's what the poll showed.
Let's go on to Newt Gingrich.
Can I just say something? I want to say something that what's refreshing about Herman Caine is he doesn't represent race. He represents a generation. When you look at him, you think, hardworking, up from your bootstraps, I got here on my own. And he represents it so well that when you hear him talking, you go, that's what makes America so awesome, is when he's talking. He doesn't represent a civil servant. He doesn't represent the government. He represents, you know, the beauty of capitalism.
I hear double pizza expert, double cheese, extra cheese,
you know what,
pepperoni.
I just got a free pizza out of that.
I hear a guy who came from business, who has the right, the only person in the whole field on the right or the left, Obama included, with the right idea on taxes. 999, Leslie's very simple. 9% personal income tax, 9% corporate tax, and 9% capital gains tax. Everything is 9%.
But what happens if he's not in for after 4 years? What happens with the next president, the next administration?
Then the next president.
But they can put a 2/3 vote in the Senate.
But think about the huge tax hike that Americans would be subject to.
This would be a tax decrease.
No, if he has 999, doesn't get reelected, and then the next administration, left or right, says that was crazy.
It's an interesting scare tactic, actually, that you could use on that. But if you have a 2/3 vote and the people agree to it in the Senate, then it's almost impossible to get a 2/3 or a 2/3 vote in the Senate. But it could happen. So he's got some to explain that. I want to get to another candidate, which is Newt Gingrich, who picked up an endorsement from Tea Party founder Judson Phillips. We have some sound from that from earlier on America's Newsroom.
There were certain criteria I was looking for. Somebody who's conservative, somebody who's electable, somebody who's got some national experience, and most importantly, I was looking for somebody who's got vision, not only to be able to dismantle Obamacare when they get elected, but to start to work on dismantling big government. And when you start looking at all the really great Republican candidates are out there, there's really only one who fulfills all those, particularly the vision requirement, and that's Newt Gingrich. Well,
okay, Greg, I wanted to ask you something, because I've known Newt Gingrich, or at least of him, for longer than I'm going to care to say. But what's interesting is, so you might think of him as like the establishment Republican candidate, but then he just got the Tea Party endorsement. How do you swing that?
Because in his heart, Newt is a bad boy. He's a bad boy. He's the, he's always been kind of a rascal. He's a visionary, but he's also arrogant, and that's the problem. You can't reconcile his vision with his personality, which is always going to be the challenge.
Yeah, but his rascalness and his bad boy on the other side might be the reason that he's not doing it.
But he's not going to cut Medicare or entirely wipe out health care reform.
Can we just point out the Tea Party isn't a one cohesive group. This is Tea Party Nation. Granted, this guy was one of the first Tea Party organizers, Judson.
Yeah, Judson Phillips.
All right. However, he doesn't represent the Tea Party. And if there were a cohesive group called the Tea Party, they would never back Newt Gingrich.
No, absolutely.
He is establishment.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Eric.
Big government establishment.
But I think
alert.
Yes.
Right? No kidding. The one thing that's interesting, we mentioned Michelle Bachmann, and just quickly wanted to ask you, Leslie, do you think her campaign is petering out?
Guys are all snickering because of during the break. You guys taped it probably. I'm sorry, Dana, could you repeat the question?
Well, do you think Michelle Bachmann's campaign is petering out, or does it have some momentum?
I'm teasing. I actually do think I think that she is petering out, and the reason that she is petering out is because it's become a contest, unfortunately, between, right now at least, Mitt Romney and Rick Perry, and she knows that.
Yeah, one of the things also that we haven't talked about, and I'm going to have to go, but I'll mention, is that Sarah Palin's PAC chief says she's on the verge of deciding, so we could have that announcement soon.
More the merrier.
So we'll
for us.
just keep it going. Coming up, we're going to bring you brand new developments in the fight to repeal Obamacare. The case making its way all the way to the top, to the Supreme Court. Stay with us. The 5 will be right back.
Everybody